Hey guys, so I don't know if you've seen my previous video or not, but this is my 1998 Isuzu Rodeo. Currently right now I'm having an issue with the starter motor where it will not crank. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to diagnose that and to remove and replace the starter motor. So like I said, I'm having issues with the starter. When you go ahead and start it, I'll show you right now. You hear that? I don't know if you can hear that clicking, but it clicks and the starter motor will not spin. Let me see if I can hear it better down here. So that was the starter motor clicking, bringing out the Bendix, which is the gear that connects to the flywheel. It's coming out, but it will not spin. So I'm gonna go ahead and diagnose it today. Before you start taking apart the motor, make sure you disconnect the battery. Either one of the terminals, it doesn't matter. I took out the ground side. And obviously when you're ready to start it up again, make sure you put it back in. So this is the starter right here. This is the back side of it, and this is the front side of it. What you're gonna go ahead and do first is you're gonna go ahead and undo these two clips for the wiring. What you do basically is you just pull down on, focus. I'm trying to get a better lighting. Pull down here and pull out of these tabs and that tab up there. Free up space so that you can get to that bolt right there. And it'll be a bit harder to find that bolt right there. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, get those two bolts, get the harness out of the way, get those two bolts down, and that way you'll be able to pull the starter out from here and hang it down from the, well, not hang it, but all you have left is the connector up there and I think it's a 13 mil bolt that is holding the signal from the battery. So as you can see, she's a leaky girl, you know. She leaks a lot of oil. I'm trying to get that done. Don't get on my ass too much. Anyways, so since this is basically the messiest car I have ever worked on, you always clean it up first. Get all the oil and crap off of it. That way, when you go to work on it, it doesn't get all that messy. So now that we've got the starter motor and the harness cleaned up a bit more, it won't be as oily, and we could go ahead and start taking out those two bolts that I showed you earlier. So we are able to reach that bolt, which is a 14 mil socket, and we have it loose. I broke it loose already, and the one down here, let me try to see if I can get a light. That bolt right there is the other 14 mil that we got to get out. I got it loose. So now the starter is loose. We can wiggle it out. So we're gonna go ahead and take the bolts all the way out and undo the nut and the connector that's on the top of the starter. Got that one bolt out that could barely see. I probably should get this with two hands. Okay, so I got the motor loose. And I'm gonna try to do this with one hand. So this is the top of the motor, right? As you can see, the connector, the signal wire that from the ignition is this connector right here, and this is the wire from the battery that gives the motor the power it needs to spin. So undo this connector, the signal wire from the ignition, and undo this bolt, the power wire from the battery. So I got the motor out. This is the nut from the battery. This is the connector from the ignition. What this does is when you go to turn the key to start the car, it gets a connection from the ignition, which then brings out this gear. Then this connector is what powers the motor. Now mind you, this is a V6. This is a pretty heavy motor, or it has a lot of weight to it. So some starter motors will have gear reduction, some will just be direct drive. It really depends on what it is. But the way the motor sits, it sits like this. And these are where the two bolts that I took go. One's longer than the other, so be mindful when you put it back together. What I'm going to do to diagnose and make sure that it's the motor that's messed up is I'm going to go up in the car and making sure I'm getting a signal from this connector. I'm going to try to see if I can show you guys the other side. Yeah, so that is the flywheel here, and that's what the Bindex connects to and starts to spin. I had somebody, I couldn't film it. It's the end of the day and everybody's leaving. I don't want to take somebody's time up too much, take up too much time from somebody. But anyways, what I did, again, this is the signal connector. What I made was a, I guess you could say that I just made a wire pretty much. Stripped both ends, stripped the ends of it, and stuck one end into the connector, and the other end is touching the probe right here. Alright, so I had the wire touching the probe and the wire was in the connector, so I made a full connection. And then the negative probe, let me see if I can find it. The negative probe, I had it on this bolt, and so I had somebody up in the car activating or sending the signal to this connector, and I measured it. It measured 12.4 volts, so it's getting signal. So it is the starter motor that is just bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the new starter motor on the way, and we will continue from there. So day 2 of working on the starter. Starter's here. I already returned in the other one as a core. Some auto parts do that. I already compared the new one to the old one. So if you remember, the connector is still there, the nut is also there, and this vent is also still there. And then the mounting holes are still the same. Still the same, that long bolt on one side and the short bolt on the other side. So we are going to go ahead and put this back in. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and clean up, if I could get it over there. I'm going to go ahead and try to clean that up. Alright, so we're ready to put in the starter motor. We're going to first attach these cables to the starter motor. Okay. Alright, so we've got the starter plugged in on both connectors. We're going to go put it in. So we put it in here. Get this harness out of the way. So we got the starter in with the first bolt, and it's just lined up. Now we're going to go ahead and put in the second bolt, which is the harder, is the one in the harder position. And we will go ahead and test the motor from there. So the starter motor is now in, it's connected, and it is bolted in. That bolt up there and that bolt down there. Those two bolts are tight. So we're gonna go ahead and try it, make sure it spins, and go from there. So it is currently later on in the day. I just got home. I forgot to film me turning the car over just to verify the fix, you know, because that's what you gotta do. So yeah, just to verify the fix. It works. And actually, let me show you another cool, an interesting trick. Okay. So let's say that you want to verify that, or see if the starter motor has a dead spot in it. You just press the gas all the way down. As you can see, I have it at 100% throttle, and you go ahead and start it. And we have now verified that the starter motor is good, has no dead spots, and the starter is getting a signal and the car is able to turn on. So with that being said, okay, so that is the end of this video. If you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. To tell you guys the honest truth, these cars are very good cars, very reliable, and also cool. But there's not much content on these cars, so these cars are slowly going away. However, I'd like to show you the world, I guess, how good these cars are, to be honest with you. So I ask that you please like, share, and subscribe. Get this content out there because I do want to show, again, the world how good these cars are. So other than that, there is more content coming out. There's more content coming out, so I will start working on that video, and I will try to get to you guys pretty soon. So yeah.